14 months ago, I was your average broke college kid. I was watching all the how to make money online videos on YouTube. So I was sold this lie of making boatloads of money online. So being really naive, I took the one skill I knew how to do really well, which was growing TikTok accounts, and I started selling courses on it. I slapped together a 4-hour video course, put that shit on WAP, and then started selling it through my Instagram Reels. And 47 days into starting this business, we made our first $10,000, but we got stuck there for a little while. But fast forward to today, after 413 days of running this business, we have made $491,000 total. But in order to scale my course business from being stuck under $10,000 a month to eventually hitting $100,000 in a single month, there were 3 key pillars that I had to implement to make my course business actually successful. And they're not what you think. Because if you're either running your own info business or you're thinking of starting your own sort of course, program, or coaching online, do not follow advice that you've seen more than 6 months ago, because the meta is shifting. And I'll tell you right now, as somebody who's actually succeeded in the last year at info, my business only started growing when I basically pivoted my business away from selling courses and focused way harder on the 3 pillars that I want to explain to you in the next 10 minutes. These 3 pillars are the pillars of an actual successful, legit info business. And I'm going to teach you what these 3 pillars are and how to implement them into your business. Whether you're just starting out your own course, coaching, or community, or you've been running it for a while, you just feel stuck. You can't get it to grow. You're plateauing at around 10, 5K a month. This is how I broke those plateaus, and it just kept scaling. And it was not by going more viral. It was not by running ads. I've never spent a single penny on ads. And it has everything to do with what you're selling, because most people think you can just slap together a course and make a ton of money on it. And that worked maybe like 2 years ago. That doesn't work today. Because with AI and YouTube, information is a worthless commodity now. If anything, just selling information with this video course you can slap together in like 2 weeks, and then now you can start printing money off of. That is the easiest way to get labeled as a scammer by your audience and everybody who sees you online. And as somebody who's been studying all of the big info creators who crushed it in the course business space, like Joel Kaplan, Charlie Morgan, Iman Gadzhi, these big names who've all made over $1 million a month with info, they're either releasing their entire course fully to YouTube, their 10, 20-hour course, or they're just shutting down their course business entirely right now. Why do you think they're doing that? If course businesses are dead, they're useless and worthless, what do you actually need to sell if you want to succeed in info in 2025? Well, let me show you. These are the 3 pillars that you need to care about if you're actually running or starting your own info business and you actually want to make it work as a community business. So notice how I made this emphasis on community as opposed to courses. Okay, so let's start off with pillar number 1, which is recurring revenue. I have this little screenshot of my MRR. Now, why is this so much lower than the amount of money that I've made? Well, MRR stands for monthly recurring revenue, and that literally means this amount is sent into my bank account every single month. And that's what makes a business actually possible to run, especially an info business. This is between April 2024 and April of 2025. So in the last 12 months, it has increased steadily. Obviously, there's some hiccups, as opposed to a lot of course businesses or a lot of info businesses might do this, where they're going to start off here and then suddenly they go whoop, and then 2 months later, boom, down. You want to avoid this situation. And why does this stark drop off happen? Well, it's because a lot of people are optimizing just to make a shitload of cash up front, and they're like, yo, we're just going to sell everybody. All you have to do is pay one time. And they're optimizing for the sale. They're optimizing just to get people into the door and pay them like 2 bands, 3 bands for their course. And then what happens is that, boom, all the shitty reviews happen. People don't actually get results. You don't even care about them getting results because you just made so much cash. You just made so much dopamine for literally doing no work of actually helping people. So obviously your business is not going to operate in the spirit of like actually being valuable to people. In a recurring revenue business model, you're actually incentivized to get people results, because if at any point all of these customers, if they don't get results, they're all leaving next month. The reason why this keeps going up is because a lot of the members are staying because they're actually getting results. It's what genuinely makes my entire business possible. It's what allows me to pay now $8,000 to $10,000 a month to my team with all of my other expenses. That is only possible to genuinely run a real business if you have recurring revenue coming in and you're not just scraping and scratching and trying to fight for the next sale every single month. And I want to actually quote Jeff Bezos here, because a lot of you might be taking advice from like the wrong business gurus out there. If everything you do needs to work on a 3-year time horizon, right? And in info, we can even short that out to like 3-month time horizon. Then you're competing against a lot of people, because a lot of people are just money hungry and they're just trying to get as much money up front right here as possible. They're not worried about the long-term time horizon. It's like, what does month 11, month 12 look like? If you're willing to invest on a 7-year time horizon, you're now competing against a fraction of those people, because very few companies, or really just entrepreneurs, creators are actually willing to think on a long-term time horizon with their community business. So what does this actually mean? You want to get rewarded monetarily for getting people results. That's why you want people to continuously pay you every month, because it's a sign that if they're not paying you the next month, your stuff didn't work and they didn't like working with you. And churn, which stands for basically the percent of people that leave every single month from your community. This is your biggest determinant on whether your product actually works. So you can see here, when I first started my community, I didn't know what I was doing. And that's why I'm so passionate about this concept, because when I first started, as I started running the business up, I realized, oh my goodness, people are leaving like crazy. I peaked at 44% churn. This was around April of 2024. So about 1 to 2 months into my business running. For every month, I need to get 44 new people for every 100 just to make the community stay at the same level of MRR. That's awful. You're constantly just going to be on this hamster wheel trying to find new customers every single month if your churn is this high. So I started introducing coaching calls, and you can see there's a constant battle. There's constantly ups and downs. It's kind of like a stock, but eventually you can see over time, we get this general downtrend. And now we're here at around 21%. We've hit lows of like 18%. Look how much of a stark difference it went from 44% to 21%. That is the reason why my business has continued to grow and has not operated like any of one of those shitty scam online course businesses that make a ton of money in like month 1 and 2 and then completely crash and burn on month 3, 4, or 5. Stop thinking about the 1 month time horizon. Stop thinking about how much money you're making this month, how many sales you've generated this month. Think about how you're going to create a product that lasts a year. If you are just a pure sales and marketing optimized human being, that makes you a grifter because you don't actually care about the promise that you're making and fulfilling on that promise to your customers. Number 2, and that's reduced price. When you're actually starting off your product, it's not going to be that good. Always undercharge. A lot of people like to just like rack up their prices for their courses and communities. Like, yo, I'm going to sell my course for like $1,000 because that person over there sells their course for $1,000. Like, no, a lot of people get this massive mistake about pricing where they just need to make as much money as possible up front. So I want to break down an actual pricing strategy here that worked for me. And this is the way that I have increased my price over time. So when I first started my like community / coaching, I actually charged $597 a month. It was this like kind of one-to-one coaching where I kind of texted them one-to-one, but it wasn't like always texting them one-to-one. So it was this like group coaching program that I charged $597 a month for. And yo, we ran up $10K a month for 1 month. And then 90% of the clients left. So we literally went from like 12 clients to like 2 on month 2. Ask yourself realistically, how much would you genuinely pay for this right now? And be honest with yourself, because a lot of people like to lie and be like, oh, I think I would pay like $2,000 for my product. Well, would you pay for it right now? Like if somebody came up to you with your product and be like, hey, here it is, pay me $2K. You'd be like, no, I'd probably pay like $50 for my own thing. And that was the birth of my pricing strategy of like, yeah, you know what? Let's actually charge way less because people are clearly hating that pricing point. And I just charged $49 a month when I first launched my product, Content Academy, back in February of 2024. It was essentially like a relaunch of the failed version earlier where I just cut the price by 10x. And my churn, you'll notice it was still high. It was still 40%. That's really high. You want to ideally get down to like 20% churn. That's when I realized, okay, there's a decent amount of people who like it. So it's not an absolute dud of a product like this one was. It was decent. It had some stickiness, but 40% churn is way too high. And that's where it gives you the space to have customers to continuously serve. So it doesn't feel like you're just shooting in the dark by having literally 1 or 2 customers every month. And it allows you the space to improve your product. That is the goal when you are first starting your community, okay? Stop thinking so much about how you're going to make so much money this month. You're going to start printing and start like living in Miami, get a penthouse, start renting out a Lambo. Like, dude, just focus on making your product good. And the way you focus on making your product good is by undercharging than just focusing on churn. This is going to be literally the best mentor. You could pay for a business mentor for 10 bands, 15 bands, or you could literally just charge really low and see what people actually respond to, see what the market responds to, and improve it around their feedback. And that's when you finally are like, okay, now that I've improved the product, let's finally increase the price incrementally. Only increase the price when you actually feel like you've got a little bit of a hold on churn. So I increased the price to $59 a month right when my churn started to go down. I was like, okay, now that I actually feel like I have a grasp on churn, I'm giving them these coaching calls, I'm improving the community. After that, the only reason why I kept increasing the price was because I actually had to hire more people because I want to make the product better. If you're just increasing the price because he increased the price over there and she increased the price of their program, like you're just following the blind, leading the blind. So I want to go into reasons why you should increase the price and reasons when you should not. Okay, so when you actually do want to increase the price, it's when you have too many low quality members, when you're realizing, okay, a lot of the members that I have right now in my program, for example, are just too broke or they're too young. Okay, and they don't have enough sophistication or experience. Like for me, I want to work with creators who actually have something going on in their life that they can create content about, that they can talk about. Maybe they have the domain of expertise. So I generally like to work with like 20-something girls. But if my price is too low, I'll attract a lot of like teenagers. Okay, so that's when you want to actually increase the price. The second one is when you actually are onboarding a greater team or you're onboarding more expenses because you want to make your product better. Don't just increase the price because you think it'll make you more money. And then lastly, if your churn is above 30%, bro, don't even think about increasing your price, bro. You got other work to do. If you're selling a $50 a month community and your churn is like 45%, like 45% of your members are leaving every month, buddy, oh my goodness. Raising your price is the least of your concerns, bro. People are clearly not finding enough value at $50 a month. What makes you think people are going to like stay in your community at a higher price point? So once you have a lower, like sub 30% churn, that's when you should actually start thinking about increasing your price. Because that's how you know your product works. And that's how you know maybe you actually are just charging a little bit less than you can for the value. But if your churn is above 30%, buddy, like your program's actually overpriced right now. People aren't liking it. When to not increase your price then? One, you see someone else charging higher. You're just like, oh, that person is doing the same kind of community I'm doing, but they're charging $75 a month and I'm charging $40 a month. Like I should probably match their price so I don't get like outcompeted. Like, secondly, your business has existed for less than 60 days. Don't even think about increasing your price. Okay, for the first 60 days, just focus on making your product better. In the first 30 days, your churn is realistically going to be like zero because you don't know how many people are actually staying because it's only been 1 month. But around 60 days in is when you actually learn what your churn is. That's when you can actually start making decisions of like, is my churn above 30%? Maybe I should increase my price right now. If your churn is below 30% by that point, okay, product is good. It works. People are loving it. Let's actually start scaling this now and making more money from it. Like to really, really hammer this home, this is like the complete playbook from day one to like, for me, day 365. First is just launch your product for insanely cheap. Always undercharge at the start because that's how you're just there to collect data. You're just there to learn from your customers. Stop having this scarce mindset of, oh my goodness, I need to make so much money up front because I don't know how long this thing is going to last. Start by undercharging, like charging to the point where you're like, how am I even charging this little? That's how you should feel. And keep it at the price for 30 days. If your churn is above 30% after 60 days, do not increase your price. Then increase the price incrementally. I'm talking like by plus 10 or plus $20 and hire help during this time. First, if you're running this kind of course or coaching or community business, hire a coach, hire another coach, ideally one of your students or one of your like peers who knows this stuff well, and then hire a community manager. A community manager just makes sure your Discord server is running in order. They're active. They make sure members are like having a good time. They answer any questions that go unanswered by you because you're focused on doing the other parts of the business and you're focused on making content. And then allow your previous members to keep their old price. So we literally have customers who are still paying $49 a month. Now, later on, maybe this is about like month 6, you can start moving to annual pricing. Make it 50% off your like monthly plan. It's basically annual equals your monthly price times 6. So for us, right, our monthly price is $97 a month. 97 times 6 is around like 590 something, right? I'm not going to do math here. I suck at math. But like we charge $597 for our monthly or for our annual, and we charge $97 for our monthly. When you move to annual, you do need a good VSL and webinar. And then lastly, if you do want to actually hyperscale, like this is how we hit 100K in a month. When I hit 100K in 1 month, we made $65,000 from high ticket and just $35,000 from the low ticket community. So your low ticket is a great mechanism to build up goodwill and build up trust. So eventually when you do launch a high ticket program, people are just like, yep, I'm bought in, dude. Take my money. You don't need to go through this complex sales process. You can literally just close them on like a 15-minute call being like, hey, here's what the program is. They're like, done, sold. I trust you. I literally got so much value for $50 a month. Here's 3 bands. And that's how we ran up 100K in 1 month. Okay, so that's the power of goodwill. Your community isn't just how much money you're making right now. Your community is also an asset for the future. In fact, we're also working on getting sponsors for our community right now. Now, lastly, okay, we've talked about pricing. We've talked about how you need to shift to a recurring revenue model and don't just sell upfront costs for a course. Lastly, how do you actually get customers? Now, let's actually talk about marketing and sales. This is like my marketing and sales gold mine, and it's relatable content. So a lot of people think to market your courses, you need to be flexing online. And if you act like a tool online, your customers will be even bigger tools. I've seen this in coaching programs where the coaching programs are flooded and the communities are flooded with just young kids who probably just want to make money because they saw some like brain rot content like this, or they're just like really low sophistication. Like, I'm gonna be honest, to succeed in content creation, for example, for my community, I don't want like a 12-year-old who has zero life experience. I want to work with like a 22-year-old who has had decent life experience. They probably went through some stories that they can tell online. Try to actually attract intelligent human beings. And the reason why that's important, okay, is because if they're actually smart customers, they're gonna get results faster. They're going to succeed. And if they're succeeding, that means they're actually going to stay and keep paying you because your program actually worked. And lastly, if your program worked, you're also going to get better reviews long term. Because while everybody else online was flexing to try and sell their course, to sell their program, I instead made really relatable content about just like how sad I am as a business owner some days, or like how I like feeling ungrateful some days. These are the videos that performed the best, but not only that, they actually made me a good amount of money. Because when you actually make content that's a little bit higher sophistication, that's relatable as opposed to just flexing, think about the kind of consumer that's consuming like a video about Miami penthouses and Rolexes. Like, they're probably not the type of person you want to hop on calls with every week, right? So I'll show you the type of person that I actually work with. This is just a screenshot from one of my coaching calls from my inner circle. You can see like we have really high quality people. This is literally a screenshot of a coaching call. Here's me, a 21-year-old who, in theory, a 21-year-old should not be able to attract really high-level people. I am actually the youngest person in my call, in this entire call. How am I able to do this? How am I able to attract high-level clients that actually want to pay me? We have a cookie business owner who's been posting daily. He's super consistent. He's so fun to work with because he actually cares. He's smart. Another one, startup founder who started in our program at like 30,000 followers. He grew to 100,000 followers. I could take credit for all that, but also he was just a smart individual. He's another creator, my friend actually, grew to 200,000 followers in a year. SaaS startup founder, 19,000 followers. He makes day trading content. 20,000 followers, right? He started off less than 1,000, and he makes $30,000 a month with his agency. These are like smart people, and honestly, I just enjoy hopping on calls with them. If you hate the people in your community, bro, like if you subconsciously just like dread hopping on calls with them, how do you expect to last long as a business owner? Business is like serving people. That's how you get people to actually pay you consistently, is when you actually serve them and you provide them value. And if you don't enjoy working with them, how do you expect to not burn out? It's just brand yourself as the Harvard of communities, not like the community college of communities. Like, no shade to community colleges, but like, you want to be like a high level education business instead of just a shitty scammy course. Actually focus on attracting high level customers. That's what you do in your content. It's the way you signal out there to the internet. It becomes so much easier to get results when you have smart students and customers stay and keep paying you. Your retention goes up, your churn goes down because they get results. And me being sad and relatable actually has led to like me making super high level connections, because I've been able to make just content that's relatable, and not just content that flexes on beginners, but content also tailored for just like people like me. And lastly, to finish off this video, just start posting. Don't overthink looking dumb, weak, emotional, and unprofessional, because if you're so focused on your perception online, you're probably just going to compensate and pretend to be way smarter and way cooler than you are. As a result of that compensation, people are going to sniff out your BS. People are going to sniff out how lame you are, and you're just going to like attract worse quality customers. This video is getting long, so if you want more helpful resources, I have a 60-minute class in the first link in the description teaching how to make your first digital product. The second link in the description is just my other YouTube video if you want to watch it. It's a 30-minute guide on how to create viral content. It's how I grew 200,000 followers in 1 year on Instagram. So those are some helpful resources. I highly recommend you watch those videos because they're going to save you so much time when it comes to creating your digital product or an info business, and also just growing on Instagram and TikTok so you can actually attract customers and attract the right customers. Thank you guys for watching.